Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, I'm Connie, and this is my reaction to Season 2, Episode 1 of Glitch Techs. So, it hasn't been as long with this series as with other ones have been. I've definitely not taken as much of a break with this as, say, She-Ra or whatever else. Um, but I think that's just because I got into this series much more than a lot of those others. And not to say I didn't get into She-Ra as much or even more. But She-Ra, it's just like it released so much so quickly, it's just hard to keep up. With Glitch Text, it's like I had an opening already, like, prepared for when this was going to happen. Um, it was much easier to keep track of, basically. But anyways, so the first season kind of ended on just a random episode. And I think I heard the reason for this was just simply because the creators of Glitch Text, when it was like moved to Netflix, before, like after it was originally supposed to be on Nickelodeon and stuff, when it was moved to Netflix, they made sure to order enough episodes that they could split into two seasons. Basically, they ordered one season's worth of episodes, but they chose to split it into two seasons to kind of keep the idea of interest going. And a lot of shows do this. Obviously, shows like Voltron and all have done this. And that's why a lot of these shows have either inconsistent or just really low episode counts. Um, but I think it's fine. There's no real issue with that. Netflix animation just does that, basically. They just have those. They do that in order to keep the relevancy up, keep people's interest up, and make sure it doesn't get too stale too quickly, especially with the binging model that Netflix pushes. Um, it just it works better this way. Um, so yeah, last time it's like we left off on an episode that just it wasn't much of a actual like season ender or anything, and it wasn't really meant to be, of course. It was a nice episode, and it definitely developed Miko's relationship with her little sister better. But it wasn't like this big finale episode or anything. Not even like a mid-season finale episode. Um, there's still a lot of questions we don't have answered that haven't even really been addressed much. There's a lot of moments in the series that have been like kind of built up to, but we just haven't gotten payoff yet. And hopefully we'll start to get more on that in this season. Um, I also want to see certain characters get a little more screen time. Like, yeah, I know it focuses on Miko and Five; they're the main characters, but I want to see like Zara and her partner get some great screen time too, because they're such fascinating, really well written characters from the little bit we've seen of them, and I want to see more. Um, Phil gets plenty enough screen time being kind of the store manager and group leader of the glitch techs in that store. So yeah, it's like he gets plenty of screen time. I'm fine with what they're doing with him. Um, and I'm fine with what they've been doing with Miko's family too. They give them plenty of screen time and kind of split it up between them. And I think they've been doing well at that. Same with kind of same with Five's grandparents. We've seen them a couple times. And I'm fine with that. We don't need like a whole lot with the families. But the big thing I definitely do want is more of Zara and her partner, whose name I can never remember. um, Mitch, I think, also has a good amount of screen time. He's like kind of like this, not full antagonist, but kind of just like this jerky member of the glitch techs who's just kind of like fucking with them at every chance he can. But he does, I feel, genuinely want to help and want to clean up the city from glitches and stuff. It's just he's also a jerk. um, but yeah, there's been a lot of like I said, mysteries that have been hinted at with the Hanobi, I assume HQ that we heard the one lady talking to, the inspector talking to. There's also the fact that Miko isn't affected by the reset and everything. So there's a lot of big important questions, and I'm really hoping we get at least some of them answered, or at least build up to some of them within this next season. But we'll see. We'll see. Either way, I'm very excited to see what season two has in store. I've heard good things from people who have seen it. No spoilers, obviously, but I have heard people have really enjoyed it and that it really does feel like it's getting going now. Um, and also, of course, there's the thing about the creators are like pushing to make sure that we can get more. um, Gotta mention that because it's like it's one of those shows nowadays that aren't getting a lot of traction because I guess it's streaming only, um, which is surprising because of how big streaming is. But it's like one of those cartoons that it doesn't get enough traction as it should be, um, and because of it, it's I wouldn't say fully in danger of being canceled or anything, or of not getting more or ordered seasons or anything. But it's at risk, and we need to make sure that people continue to watch this kind of stuff in order to get more. Um, so yeah, I really hope that we do get more because this series is better than most things you do find on TV. So it's like it definitely deserves it. Um, and I'd say it's one of the two big recent shows that really understand, unlike other shows that cover the topic, that really understand and show a passion and love for video games, along with the anime High Score Girl. So yeah, it's like I feel like we kind of really need these kind of shows to exist and to succeed. But either way, um, that's really all that needed to be mentioned. I don't know where the season's going. I don't know any spoilers, so we'll just have to kind of take it as it goes and find out. Hope for the best. So, that being said, let's just get this going and see what the first episode has in store. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, this was already a fantastic start to the season, and I really, really hope Ridley comes back. Not just because she's voiced by Ashley Birch, who pretty well known for voice acting. I mean, she's Chloe Price in Life is Strange, but even on top of that, she's done so many roles. She was in that game Beyond or Horizon Zero Dawn or whatever it's called. Um, but I definitely know her for playing Mayuri Shina in Steins Gate. She was also in Borderlands and so many other roles. She's done so many roles. Um, really well known, and it's like I just didn't recognize her. I just it didn't click with me. But that happens a lot, to be fair. Usually, it takes like like a really recognizable voice for me to notice. Like I'm trying to think of a good example. Kevin Michael Richardson. Kevin Michael Richardson has like just super recognizable voice. You hear him in so many things as so many just kind of random and just unimportant characters, and sometimes more important characters. Um, Depends on the show, depends on the role. But you hear him in so many roles, and it's like he's always one of those guys. It's like I know that voice. It's just instantly, even when you hear it, you know who it is. Um, Ashley Birch, great voice actress, but her roles tend to be different. Like you hear Chloe Price and you hear Mayuri Sheena, and it's like they're super different in terms of their delivery, in terms of their um just their the way she enunciates words, the way she speaks, everything about it is extremely different. I mean, for obvious reasons, Chloe Price being a just really cynical kind of not really stereotypical, but just kind of generally standard teenage archetype. Um, she kind of has that personality too. While Mayuri is really goofy, silly, nice, adorable, cutesy, innocent, and it's basically the complete opposite almost. And it's like, so yeah, it's you she has a good range, so she's not the kind of voice actress you would instantly recognize, not like Kevin Michael Richardson or even Mark Hamill, who it's just like you hear the voice and it's like, oh yeah, we know who that is. um, it's just because her range is so much better, so much and that's not by any means knocking on Mark Hamill or Kevin Michael Richardson. They're great, but they don't have as much dynamic range as Ashley Birch does. That's all I'm saying. But either way, um, yeah, Ridley was a fantastic character who I just instantly connected with, and I think that was the point. I think that the creators of the show and the writers and everyone wanted you to connect with her. I mean, part of the entire point of the episode was Miko connecting with her, Miko finding a kindred spirit when everyone else at that point she felt was seeing her as unusual and, in her eyes, undesirable. Even though that wasn't actually the case, they thought it was weird, but they didn't like dislike her anymore or anything. But in her mind, that's what was going on. And I've been there. In fact, I'm there a lot, honestly. And I think it has to do a lot with my Asperger's and my anxiety, both of which really do hell together in making me extremely self conscious. Anytime I'm talking to someone, it's like I'm always questioning everything I say. And I'm wondering if I'm about the way I'm coming across to people. And when someone like says something even as simple as that, like, oh, you're weird or something, it affects me in such a deep emotional way. And I always like, I overthink it and I overanalyze it in my mind. And it's hard. It's extremely hard. And so I completely understand Miko's point of view in this. Like, it didn't even try to paint her as necessarily being unreasonable or anything. She was technically wrong for thinking that, because that wasn't, obviously it wasn't the case. She was wrong in terms of like she just didn't understand the situation right. Um, but she wasn't wrong to be upset. And it never really painted her as such. It never really said that, like, oh, Miko, you shouldn't be upset when people say these things to you. No, it never actually said that. It never even hinted at that. And I'm glad for that, because people go through this shit all the time, whether they have anxiety or some form of autism or just a lot of self confidence issues. Any little thing can just set someone off and trigger them in a lot of really sensitive ways. And like I said, it's hard being someone who faces that constantly. It's hard. But at the same time, it's like you also understand Five's point of view in this. He's trying to help her. He's trying to like just note that, yeah, the situation's a little weird, that you can't get that she can't get resets and everything. He's trying to just be truthful with her, but at the same time, it's like he's saying the wrong things. That's just furthering her self confidence issues about this, and he's not intending to, not by any means. And I mean, he even looks up the fact, the information about the salamander, to try and make it up to her, to show her that he does actually care. And he does, and she knows that she does. And it's just another example of someone getting in your head, and that can happen. Mitch is that kind of character in this show. And there are people like that in real life who will just say something that gets in your head. And even though you know you shouldn't trust them, even though you know that their opinion on you doesn't matter, it still affects you. It still can hurt you. Again, something I very much have gone through. But like I said, the most investing part of this episode was Ridley. This girl who is clearly younger than Miko and Five. Like, Miko and Five are probably like, what, 15, 16? She's got to be like 12 or 13, maybe 14 at the absolute most, but I think that's honestly stretching it. I think she's either 12 or 13, and she's a genius. She's a tech genius who has modded her Hinobi console to be able to not only harness these glitches, but actually rewrite them and make them docile, and basically keep them as pets and friends. And like Miko, she has a hard time with self confidence issues, but to a much bigger degree. She is extremely self conscious, and people calling her out on that hurts her. And she acknowledges and even celebrates being weird, which is awesome, and something that a lot of people do in real life, and I think more people should. But at the same time, it's like, when she feels that people are purposefully, even if this is not the case, but when she feels like people are purposefully refusing to understand her, or when people are seeing her as unusual and wrong, she retreats. She feels she has no real friends outside of her glitches. And she retreats kind of into her shell. She's alone and she's sad. And honestly, this girl really needs to come back. Like, this show has invested me from episode 1 of season 1. But this hit me personally, because I've been there. I have been all 3 of the main focused characters in this episode: Miko, Five, and Ridley. I understand all of their points of view here, and none of them are in the wrong. And I feel so, so hard for Ridley here. Because again, I understand what it means to feel ostracized from others. I know what it feels like to believe everyone's against you. I know what it's like to feel like I don't have friends, and to retreat into my passions and my just interests in order to ignore that. I've been doing it my whole life. Ridley, I feel, is a character a lot of people are going to connect to for a number of reasons. And I feel like she's important. Leaving it off at this would be a massive mistake in my eyes. She needs to be brought back. And whether she's made a glitch tech or not, we need to see just we need to see everyone make friends with her and truly show her that there is more to this world and more to people that can be positive for her. It's something that has been shown to me by friends and people I honestly consider like family at my church and through the LGBTQ plus community since I came out, and especially through conventions. All the friends I have made through that. It's something I've been shown time and time again. And because of my own confidence issues, it's something that I have to keep being reminded of. Because I still face these struggles, I still face these issues, I still feel alone all the time. Like, there are certain aspects of the first season that did connect with me personally, of course. But this one really hit hard. Like, I'm holding back tears talking about it. It just, Ridley's story is not done. Ridley's story is clearly not done. And I don't want to wait for a third season that we don't even know for sure if that's coming, to get more of it, to get some kind of resolution to this. We need for this to continue, whether it's a full season story arc or whether it just happens in a few episodes, like 2 or 3 episodes. We need this to continue. We need Ridley to come back. And I would love for her to become a glitch tech, honestly. But I also don't want her to lose everything that she loves and everything that makes her her. So if there hopefully could be some way around that, to where she could keep her glitches, to where she could keep her tech, and even use that to help support the remainder of the glitch techs in the store. That would be fantastic. That would be honestly perfect. But we'll have to see. Because sometimes it's hard to tell what Phil will go for. Plus, it's just hard to see where this is going at the moment. It's just Ridley is one of those characters that I personally want to see happy. Because I see myself in her. And I've been down the other side. I've been to the point where I've gotten so bad I have tried to kill myself. I don't want to see this poor girl go down the route of depression like that. I don't want to see anyone go down the route of depression like that. I just really want this to have a resolution and have a positive resolution. This poor girl deserves it. I Tell me what you thought in the comments below. I'm Connie. I'm signing off. See y'all next time.